Well, tonight is adapter night. I am going to build an adapter to make this mixer bolt onto this intake on this Toyota motor. So it's just a chunk of aluminum I got, but I'll walk you through how I'm doing it, and I ain't saying it's right. So let's get her. So to stick this propane regulator or mixer on this motor, I'm going to need an adapter, and this is the manifold that's on here. I looked around, I don't know, it looks like the adapters are different that are available, and I don't know, I don't have any Toyota parts laying around, so I'm going to make a template, and that is going to become my adapter. So it's just a chunk of aluminum, but I've got a mill and stuff here, so I'll see if I can make this thing bolt on to this thing. So I'm no machinist, and I'm not going to dig out calipers and measuring tools and whatnot. So I made a simple, basically a gasket, and just by doing the old homemade gasket maker, setting a piece of paper on there, and you just take your hammer and tap around, and it'll leave an impression. And basically it cuts this out and is about, for a Toyota, as precise as this needs to be. So as long as I mill this flat on both sides, get everything nice and parallel, that gives me my bottom mount area. And then I just have to orientate the mixer on here so that the bolts for it can also bolt on here. So it might have to sit a little bit diagonal, somewhere in there to where I can catch it and put some studs in there, and that can bolt down. So that's phase one of this little project. Well, it's been a few years since I've actually used this old mill port for anything other than drilling holes or putting a slot in something, but I'm going to get going on this Toyota mixer propane adapter, and yeah, I got my chunk of aluminum. I took a file, knocked all the edges off. One edge of this, I don't know, yeah, that in there's got kind of a big booger on it. So that's the side I'm going to start on to start squaring this up. Get her all square, parallel, and flat, and then, yeah, we'll start drilling some holes, and hopefully it won't take too long to make an adapter out of this. Couple quick passes back and forth, and this thing will be all nice and flat. And I don't know where my fly cutter went, so I just threw this little end mill in here quick, and it should be enough to get her done. So we'll get her chopped up and get her squared up. Well, that got that side all nice and squared up, and I'll pull it out of here, flip it around, do the other side, and that'll be the next step. Alright, we got two parallel sides. She's all cleaned up, no burrs or boogers. I filed the edges. Now I'll get the one side, the top side of this. This side's the flattest. Or wait a minute. Yeah, this side's got a ding on it, and this is the flattest, so I'm going to put it with this side down, and then get this squared up and flip her over and do the other side. And I'm not going to worry about the ends because I'm probably going to cut this down a bit, and then I'll mess with those when I'm all done. So here we go. And these are all just light cuts just to get it cleaned up. And yeah, once I just get the little lumps and bumps and all the imperfections out of it, and then it should be good enough to hold a gasket. So obviously I'll need to go a little deeper. There's a couple deeper gouges, so I'll drop her down a bit and get this thing cleaned up. Alrighty, everything cleaned up on it. The little corner that was kind of boogered up right there, it's barely there. There's a little nick right there, but the part I'm making is only, I don't know, right into here. So yeah, we'll be good there. And with a fly cutter, I wouldn't have had as many kind of grooves and lines in here, but I don't know, it's flat enough. So yeah, we're gonna flip it over and get the other side done. All right, we're all two sides, or well, all four sides are square. I haven't done the ends. Like I say, I'm gonna trim some of that off, but now I will just lay this bad boy on here. I'll spray a little red layout dye on there, and yeah, we'll start drilling some holes. Well, I got this scribed out. I'll plow some holes in there, and then I gotta kind of figure out where this mixer is gonna go on here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get some holes drilled. I'm sure there's a few machinists out there that are scoffing me, or not. I probably don't have their approval, but I don't know, this should work. It's pretty simple, so we'll see. I'm sure I'll have to elongate a couple holes or something. I haven't like measured anything on this project, so bear with me. Well, they're all drilled. Let's go see if these things will actually fit on this manifold now. So here's the old gerbil. There's what we're doing. So that's kind of the hopes and the dreams. So if I can record this and that one fit. We're off to a good start. So let's see here. Sweet. Oh. That one's just a little tiny bit off, so I can just open that up a little bit. But yeah, those are good. And then, yeah, these ones are metric. I gotta go find some bolts for that. So let me see if those will go too. All right, I found a couple bolts, but they're kind of tight to fit into there. But I think these two back ones, I'm gonna have to open up the hole just a tiny bit. And then this one, it'll like thread down in there, but I'm just gonna go like one size bigger on a drill bit. And I think this thing's a bolt-on, so we're pretty close for just a cardboard template and freehanding and eyeball center punching. So yeah, like I say, if you want something done, you can usually figure out a way to do it. So I don't know, I'm thinking this is gonna work. Alright, I went ahead and opened all the holes up, and just a size or two bigger, and everything is fitting nicely now. So now I got to figure out where the mixer's going to go, and it's got its own little flange, and somehow I got to get it in between all this and stuff. So I'll get a little plan for that. Well, this couldn't get much easier. So this almost fits on the two middle bolts that bolt this thing on here. So this would put it dead nuts right in the middle of the openings for the intake. And all I got to do is just elongate either one or both of these holes a little bit. I can do that with a Dremel or something. And yeah, this thing should bolt right directly in the middle. So that is a score. So judging by the gasket here, you can see how little it's going to take to just dust these open. So just a tiny bit on each one, and this thing will be bolting on. I just use this little cheap air grinder with a little burr on the end of it to hog out the holes. So there are the holes. Wasn't much, but it should be enough. So, and then she drops right on. So yeah, now I just got to open up the ports to get it down into the intake. So we're getting super close. This is this is taking a lot less time than I figured it was gonna. So same technique as I used before. I just set this on here, tapped around with a hammer, made a little template for it, and then I can simply trace it onto here, and then that gives me that hole. And I have the other two, so I got to basically get the bottom two to come up from or these two are going to come up from the bottom and blend into one center one here. So yeah, that's going to be about the trickiest part to this whole thing. I just kind of milled about halfway down in this plate, and I don't know if you ever tried to do this on a manual mill and make a circle. It's kind of hard, but no, I'm pretty close. So I'm just going to lay my template on here, drop a couple bolts in there, just trace it out to that. Should be close enough. I can blend it in with a Dremel or something too. So yeah, we're getting closer. Well, I kind of profiled it out with the little template in place so you can see that little shoulder in there. So I just got to hog all that out of there down to the bottom of that hole. And this hole will be done enough that I can address it with a Dremel or something. So yeah, we're almost done with the intake side. Well, there's my freehand hole. It lines up with my template pretty nice. So now I can flip it over and do the other holes on the bottom. So I just kind of hog down in here, and I'm going to try and blend it in with the hole on the top and just kind of bevel this down to where everything goes from the intake right in, and it can just kind of come out and flow into both these ports. So yeah, I'm just kind of roughing this thing out right now. Well, I got the rough out pretty much done. Yeah, I kind of just did a hog out with the mill real quick just to kind of blend that down into that hole, and then I'm going to get in there with a Dremel and kind of clean that up and try and blend it a little bit. Don't throw this thing on a flow bench because it probably ain't going to flow very good, but I don't know. I figure it's all just vapor. It should go in there and swirl around and do what it's supposed to, so I'm going to go clean this up. Well, this is what I used to just finish this little project up. So that that ain't stripper glitter. So yeah, I just kind of did a little blending on it. It ain't perfect, but it's for what I'm doing, it should be good. So yeah, it's just kind of rough. So I'll get it all cleaned up, and I don't know. I'm gonna trim it up and kind of make it more like the gasket shape was. So. But yeah, for now, I think it'd bolt on there and work. So this bad boy is as done as it's going to get. So that is one side, and there is the other. And I tried to kind of blend the little ports in there and stuff. It ain't perfect, but like I say, it ought to work. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad sitting on there either. So kind of sit like that. Mixer will sit right on there, and yeah, we should be able to get this motor running here. And I don't know, I got a couple fittings and different stuff, but this is kind of a big thing on my list. I know they make some that you can buy, but I don't know, this took me, I think, 4 hours to make. So yeah, I saved, I don't know, it's $150 or something, and took a little time, but I don't know, I'm probably the only one with a piece of crap like this. And there is the mixer sitting on there. So I haven't got anything bolted down yet, but just kind of seeing how it looks, and I like it. And the throttle cable here, this wraps around. It'll hook in right to my throttle over here, so that'll work out good. I just got to get the regulator mounted and check some fluids, twist a few wires, and I think we'll have this thing going. So yeah, stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, you know. Yeah, but we got more, and hopefully we'll hear this thing kick off.